as last week I have training Manggot and then the extend, so I was not able to give the lecture on time. So, anyways, um, today we'll be talking about seizure and epilepsy. So, seizure is from the word sazire or Latin word sazire, which means to take possession of. So it is a transient occurrence of signs and symptoms due to an abnormal, excessive, or synchronous neuronal activity within the brain. So epilepsy, on the other hand, is a condition in which a person has a risk of recurrent seizures due to a chronic or underlying process. So it is a clinical phenomenon rather than a single disease entity because many forms and causes exist. So it is defined as two or more unprovoked seizures. So for it to be an epilepsy, whereas epilepsy syndrome, so this is the clinical and pathologic characteristic, distinctive and suggests a specific underlying etiology. Now, classification of seizures, so they are determined uh, whether according to its features and also the EEG findings or electroencephalographic findings. So it could either be focal, generalized, or idiopathic or unknown in origin. So these are the classifications of your seizures. So you have focal onset, generalized onset. It could either be motor or non-motor. So for motor, it's tonic-clonic, and then other motors, you have your atonic or myoclonic, and then non-motor, so such as your absence seizures. While the unknown onset, it could either be motor, non-motor, or your unclassified ones. So first, you have your focal onset seizures. So they arise from a neuronal network, either discretely localized within one brain region or more broadly distributed, but still within the cerebral hemispheres. So they are further classified into its effect on the awareness. It could either be impaired awareness or none or intact. It could either be also classified further depending on the onset, motor or non-motor. So the EEG of this kind of seizure could either be normal or if they are present, you have epileptiform spikes or sharp waves. So further classified into focal seizures with intact awareness. So they have a motor manifestation. It could either be tonic, clonic, or myoclonic, or non-motor, sensory, autonomic, or emotional. However, the awareness is intact. So the EEG findings of this type of seizure may show an abnormal discharge in a very limited region over the appropriate area of cerebral cortex that is affected. Focal seizures with intact awareness. So you have abnormal motor. Good morning, Danya. Abnormal motor movements may begin in very restricted regions such as the fingers, gradually progressing to a larger portion. So you have your Jacksonian march. So from your fingertips, then the seizures extends towards the head, arms, and then the shoulders. So patient may experience a localized paralysis, such as your TODS paralysis for a minute or many hours, and then in rare instances, they may continue for hours or days. So that is now your epilepsia partialis continua. And this type of patients are often refractory to medical therapy. So focal seizures with impaired awareness is also as from the name implies, accompanied by transient impairment of the patient's ability to maintain normal contact with the environment. So the patient may not be able to respond effectively to visual or verbal commands during the seizure, or they may have an impaired recollection or awareness of what transcribed during the ictal phase. So they begin with aura, which is stereotypic for the patient. So, and then afterwards, you have the motionless stare, which marks the onset of the period of impaired awareness. And then after that, there is a period of automatism, so wherein there is involuntary automatic behaviors such as chewing, lip smacking, or picking movements of the hands. Now you have your generalized seizure. So these seizures often involve both your cerebral hemispheres, thus producing a generalized seizure. So they are more common as tonic-clonic variety. So they are observed frequently following focal seizures arising from the region of the frontal lobe. So this arise at some point in the brain, but immediately and rapidly engage neuronal networks in both cerebral hemispheres. So we also have your typical absence seizure. So this is characterized by a sudden, brief lapses of consciousness without the loss of postural control. So they may last only for a few seconds. Consciousness returns suddenly as if nothing happened, and then there is no post-ictal confusion. So they are common in children. So the absence seizures are accompanied by subtle bilateral motor signs such as rapid blinking of the eyes, chewing movements, or small amplitude of clonic movements of the hands. So as mentioned, they are usually common in the children or childhood ages 4 to 10 years old. Some may have it at adolescence, so they are common in about 15 to 20% of children with epilepsy. So at first, you notice, or the significant others may notice that the patient is daydreaming. So that's usually the first clue. And then the second is there is decline in school performance noticed by the teachers. So the hallmark of the EEG finding of this type is a generalized symmetric 3 hertz spike and slow wave discharges that begins and ends suddenly, and with a normal EEG on the background. Now, next is your myoclonic seizures. So this is a sudden and brief muscular contraction that may involve one part of the body or the entire body. They are normal, common physiologic form of myoclonus. So this is the sudden jerking movement observed by falling asleep. So if you notice, while you're on the verge of sleeping, you suddenly there's a jerking movement. So that's a myoclonic type, but although that's physiologic. While your pathologic myoclonus, they are usually observed in metabolic disorders such as diabetes, degenerative CNS disease, or anoxic brain injury from those that have hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy. So those patients that may, or from post-arrest or post-cardiac arrest, but with uh, return of spontaneous circulation, but the resuscitation take longer than 5 minutes, so they are prone to having anoxic brain injury or hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy. So the type of seizures from that is your myoclonic seizures. The EEG shows a spike and slow wave discharges immediately prior to the movement and muscle artifacts associated with your myoclonus. So they also um, coexist with peripheral seizures and is a predominant feature of your juvenile myoclonic epilepsy. So epileptic spasm, so this is another type. So this is characterized by a briefly sustained flexion or extension of predominantly proximal muscles, including your truncal muscles. In the EEG, it shows hips arrhythmia consisting of diffuse giant slow waves with a chaotic background of irregular multifocal spikes and sharp waves. So if you have this, an electromyogram is best also done in this patient, revealing a characteristic rhomboid pattern that may help distinguish spasm from brief tonic or myoclonic seizures. They are more common in infants, likely resulting from a different neuronal function and connectivity in the immature versus your mature CNS. Now, the epilepsy syndrome, on the other hand, so this is an epilepsy uh, wherein there is evidence, maybe either through EEG, clinical, radiologic, or genetic observations. So they have a common underlying mechanism or cause. So you have your juvenile myoclonic epilepsy, your Lennox-Gastaut syndrome, and your mesial temporal lobe epilepsy syndrome. So your juvenile myoclonic epilepsy, so this is also a generalized seizure disorder of unknown cause. So they appear frequently in early adolescence and is characterized by bilateral myoclonic jerks that may be single or repetitive. So myoclonic seizures are most frequent in the morning after awakening and also provoked by your sleep deprivation. So usually consciousness is preserved unless the myoclonus or the seizure is severe. Remission is uncommon. However, seizures are responsive to medical therapy or your anticonvulsant medications. Your Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. So this is also common in children. So they have triads. It is characterized by the following triads. So you have multiple seizure types. It could either be generalized tonic-clonic, atonic, or your absent seizure. Your EEG shows less than 3 hertz, spikes and wave, and also impaired cognitive function in most but not all cases. So more or less same siya sa imong um, absence, typical absence seizure. However, it is associated with CNS infection or disease or dysfunction. It could either be from a mutation, developmental abnormalities, from perinatal or during the period of the pregnancy of the mother. So you have hypoxia and ischemia, would either be also from trauma, infection, and other acquired lesions. Unfortunately, for this type of patients, they have very poor prognosis due to the underlying CNS problem. So there are consequences of severe, poorly controlled epilepsy. It could be or psychosocial. Now, next is your mesial lobe epilepsy syndrome. So this is the most common syndrome associated with focal seizures with impairment of consciousness and is an example of epilepsy syndrome with distinctive clinical EEG and pathologic findings. So to diagnose this, you need to have your MRI, a high resolution MRI. So they detect the characteristic hippocampal sclerosis. I don't know if you can see in your slides, there's an arrow on your hippocampus. So there's a sclerosis over there that is essential in the diagnosis and pathophysiology of your MTLE. So the recognition of the syndrome is especially important because This also tends to be refractory to medical treatment or your anticonvulsants, but very responsive to your surgical intervention. So these are the examples of genes that is associated with your epilepsy syndrome, such as, so just read on this. So I will not dig further on that. So next is the causes of seizures and your epilepsy. So cause of seizures is usually a result of a shift between the normal balance of excitation and inhibition within the CNS. So there are three clinical observations that causes the seizures. So first is when the normal brain is capable of having a seizure under the appropriate circumstances, and there are differences between individuals in susceptibility or threshold for this type of seizures. Number three is when there are conditions that have an extremely high likelihood of resulting in another seizure disorders. So those having metabolic or previously CN infections or kind of mga those patients with post-arrest or katong mga anoxic brain injury. So those are those typical of this. And then the seizures are epidemic, so episodic, so meaning they occur intermittently with depending on the underlying cause. So some patients may go months without seizures and then or even years without seizures, and then if there are triggering factors, so they go into seizures. So, according to age, the most common cause of seizures in the neonates or less than 1 month is either perinatal hypoxia or ischemia. So, these are common also during kanang delivery, no? If naipit ang inyong patient or kind of mga cord coil ng mga patients. Others are CNS infection and intracranial hemorrhage. While those infants or less or more than a month but less than 12 years. So the most common is febrile seizures. However, I think febrile seizures only are common or last only up to less than 5 years old or 60 months, no? And the others could be due to metabolic and CNS infection as well. In adolescents, the most common is trauma and genetic disorders. Same goes with your young adults. Trauma is also the most common cause of seizures, followed by alcohol withdrawal. Other adults or more than those of 35 years old, the most common problem is cardiovascular disease or those mga strokes, hemorrhagics, aneurysms, and others. So the drugs and other substances that can also cause your seizures. So you have your alkylating agents, you have your antimicrobials and antimalarials. Studies also cause this type of seizure. Now, how do you deal with patients that presents with seizure? So first and foremost, you take the history and do the physical examination. So the first goal is to determine whether or not the event was truly a seizure or not. So next you do your laboratories. So routine lab studies are indicated to identify if the cause of the seizure is metabolic, so such as your problems in electrolytes, your glucose, calcium, magnesium, and also hepatic or renal. So if you have liver failure, so you can have hepatic encephalopathy resulting to seizures, and also your uremic encephalopathy, or if you have renal failure, so that also cause seizures. Electrophysiologic studies, so as mentioned, the EEGs or your EMG, your brain imaging also can identify whether there is a organic or structural abnormality that is responsible for the seizure, such as your mesial temporal lobe epilepsy. So you can see a sclerosis on the hippocampus. Genetic studies, as mentioned earlier, a flash in the screen, there are certain genes or mutations in the gene that can cause your seizures as well. How do we deal with patients with seizures? So from mentioned history, physical examination, you exclude your syncope, your TIA, so that transient ischemic attack, migraine, and acute psychosis. From there, you note if there are history of epilepsy in the family, any patients that have anti-seizures medications as well, and then you then assess if the anti-seizure drug, is effective or adequate enough to control the seizures, and also the side effects of those drugs. And then you consider taking the common laboratory workup, CBC, electrolytes, SGPT, um, for liver function, and then creatinine, BUN for renal function test. And you also take note of urinalysis or toxicology screen if you are thinking that probably there is an history of illicit drug use that is causing the seizure. If all are normal, then maybe you plan to decrease the drug levels or increase the therapeutic levels or to control the seizures. So, same goes if there is no history of epilepsy, then you um, do the laboratory work. If there are positive metabolic problem, or if not, then you do your imaging studies, your EEG, your MRI, CT scan, and all that to know if there are lesions or stroke or CNS infection that is causing the seizure of the patient. And then afterwards, you treat the patient. So these are the differential diagnosis of your seizures. As mentioned, it could either be a syncope, a psychological disorder, so basta nag-panic attack lang ang patient, or there is hypoventilation, metabolic disturbances, if there are alcoholic blackouts, the patient's hypoglycemic, and then migraine, TIA as mentioned, or nag-breath holding spells lang ang imong patients or tics, or the patient is just sleepwalking. So how do you distinguish then tonic-clonic seizures or seizures from that of syncope? So are there any precipitating factors? Usually there is none in seizure while there is in syncope. So it could either be emotional stress or nagbalsalba lang ang patient, or there could be orthostatic hypertension or cardiac arrhythmia that is causing the syncopation. Are there any premonitory symptoms? Usually, there is none, or there is aura in seizures. However, in syncope, there could be complaint of tiredness, nausea, diaphoresis, or tunneling of vision. The onset, it could either be a posture, it could either be variable, while it's syncope, usually the patient is erect. And the consciousness of the patient is often immediate and then gradual ang imong syncope. Ang most common lang ani is the disorientation or orientation of the patient. Usually, the patient in those with seizure, there is disorientation over the event longer than that of the syncope. No? So next is the treatment. So the therapy for a patient with disorder, it could either be multimodal. So if you need to treat the underlying condition if there are any, and then you also need to avoid the precipitating factors, and you control the seizures or suppress recurrent seizures thereafter. So anti-seizure drug therapy, so this is the mainstay of treatment for patients with epilepsy. The goal is to completely prevent seizures without causing side effects. If possible, you use a single medication and then follow a schedule that is easy for the patient to follow. So risk factors associated with recurrent seizures. So even if you are already giving medications, some patients may have history of stroke, an EEG of epileptiform. So those patients with epilepsy na, there is a significant abnormalities during brain imaging and those with nocturnal seizures. So this type of, or with this history of this from the patient has poorer control no, over anti-seizure drug therapy. These are the types of anti-epileptic drugs. So for generalized onset tonic-clonic, the first line is your lamotrigine and valproic acid, while these are the alternatives. And then for focal, you also have your lamotrigine, carbamazepine, oxcarbazepine, eslicarbazepine, phenytoin, and levetiracetam. While your typical absence, you have your valproic, ethosuximide, and lamotrigine. And then your atypical absence, myoclonic atonic, you also have your valproic acid, lamotrigine, and your topiramate. Now, for anti-seizure drug therapy, carbamazepine, lamotrigine, phenytoin, and levetiracetam the drug of choice approved for treatment of focal seizures, including that of your generalized seizures, while your lamotrigine is a drug of choice for the treatment of very seizures. The treatment of uncomplicated absent seizures. So, these are not useful lang for tonic-clonic or focal seizures. So remember those drugs. So when do you discontinue your anti-seizure drugs? So usually you need to um, uh, reassess the patient now if you can discontinue the therapy. However, you have to at least have medical control of seizures in the last 1 to 5 years. The patient has already a single seizure type, so they have better prognosis compared to others. And then you have a normal neurologic examination of this patient, including the intelligence no, of the patient. And then there is no family history of epilepsy, and then the patient already has a normal EEG. So usually you reassess the patient after 2 years of the treatment, and then if you already meet the criteria mentioned above, then you can start to discontinue the anti-seizure drug therapy of the patient. So 2 years ang imong lead time. No? So these are the dosages and adverse effects of the commonly used anti-epileptic drugs. So just read on this. It's on your book. So next, so status epilepticus. So this is a medical. emergency. So this is a continuous seizure or repetitive discrete seizure over a period of time with impaired consciousness. So there are numerous subtypes, including generalized convulsive status, and status epilepticus. This that status epilepticus. So if less than 50 considered a status epilepticus. Sorry, naputol ko.
Yes,
Yes, Doc.
Doc.
Eh, sige lang. Where did I stop? Status epilepticus.
Yes, Doc.
Sige, I'll go back. Okay, so this one or here?
That one, Doc.
This one now. Sorry. Okay. So kato, status epilepticus. So it is a continuous seizure, and then it should last 15 to 30 minutes for it to be considered a status epilepticus. So less than 15 minutes of a continuous seizure is not status epilepticus. So it does not meet the criteria of a status epilepticus. So it could either be just an uncontrolled seizures. No? So, as mentioned, generalized clonic status epilepticus is an emergency, so it must be treated immediately. So they can cause your CP arrest, hyperthermia, and metabolic derangements, um, developed as a consequence of prolonged seizures, and it can also lead to an irreversible neuronal injury. So the most common cause of GSE or GCSE or your status epilepticus is usually anticonvulsant withdrawal or non-compliance to the medication. And also metabolic disturbances could either be a hyperglycemia, uncontrolled hyperglycemia, hypokalemia, hypomagnesemia, or hypercalcemia. And also drug toxicity, so history of illicit drug use from methamphetamine, cocaine, heroin, so that causes the seizures, CNS infection as well, tumors, refractory epilepsy, and head trauma. So the first step in the management is to attend to the acute cardiorespiratory problem or hyperthermia of the patient. So you access or give or start an IV line, and then you get samples of laboratory studies right away to check for the any abnormalities, and then you give anticonvulsant therapy without delay. No, so usually these are kung intended na less than kung 5 to 30 minutes or even before or when the patient reaches the ER na still with a seizure, then you can give your IV benzodiazepines. So you can give your lorazepam or your midazolam. So you can give or clonazepam as well. And then you can start with your anti-seizure drugs. So you could either start with your phenytoin, valproic acid, and your levetiracetam. So if generalized na siya, ang imong cholesterol, give another midazolam, and then for focal seizures, the same. So valproic acid, levetiracetam, topiramate. So, and then you can start with kung refractory na phenobarbital, you can give as such. And then other medications, you can also give your lidocaine, verapamil if the patient is on kind of cardiac arrhythmias. And then if to protect the airway of the patient, then you can give anesthetics, no? So you can also give muscle relaxants to this patient, like ketamines, succinylcholines, and so you can intubate the patient. Why is it is very difficult to intubate the patient that still have seizures. And then other approaches could be surgery. Also, if you have really very difficult intubation on that, so others may go into tracheostomy na lang so that you can have or you can secure the airway of the patient. So, so I think that would be my last slide. Thank you. So do you have any questions regarding the topic?
None so far, Doc.
None po, Doc.
And so far, okay.
Doc,
Thank you. Yes.
may I ask, Doc, for our source in neuro exams, are
Ah,
we still going to use the 21st edition po?
yeah. Still the from the Harrisons. I took it from I think 20, but I think there's not much of a difference from the 20th to the 21st edition
O,
of
Doc?
the Harrisons. Ah,
Thank you po, Doc.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you. Bye-bye.